Hello everyone, and welcome back to Stoic Bux. Imagine that everything goes perfectly for you. You're the star of the show, and everyone wants to be with you. They see you, they admire you, and they can't stop thinking about you. People are actually trying to attract you because you're the one they want and are afraid of losing. You have the perfect relationship with an easy connection, endless conversations, and that electric chemistry that makes the world around you disappear. When you walk into a room, everyone turns to look at you because they want your attention and think of you as the center of their universe. Doesn't that feel good? It's like living in a dream where you're not trying to make them miss you or beg for their attention, but instead, you're desperate for their praise. It's like you've switched roles and they can't get enough of you. Well, folks, this isn't just a crazy dream. It's real, but only if you start living by a powerful philosophy that was carefully crafted by the legends. Epictetus by Marcus Aurelius. This dream life can become your reality if you stick with me and absorb every truth we're about to dive into in this special video. But now, let's get real for a second. Where are you right now? Be honest. You're out there desperate for their attention, trying everything in your power to make them obsessed with you. You're bending over backward, doing anything and everything to stay on their radar. You think that by constantly being there, by being nice, by sacrificing your needs and rejecting your own life, somehow you'll make them see your worth. Right, that if you're good enough, available enough, they'll be losing sleep over you. Well, folks, you're wrong, dead wrong. You've been fooling yourself. You've been living in a fantasy world where you believe they care about your efforts, that they'll wake up one day and suddenly see you as the one they can't live without. But let me drop the bomb on you. They aren't thinking about you at all. They don't miss you, not for a second. And why should they? You've never given them a reason to. You've been playing a game that only exists in your head while they've been out there living their life, barely remembering you even exist. You've handed them all your power on the silver platter, letting them treat you like a convenience while you sit there hoping for a crumb of attention. It's time to wake up and stop lying to yourself. You want to flip the script. You want to be the one they can't stop thinking about, the one they fear losing. Then you need to master something deeper, something the Stoics understood long before you were caught in this trap: how to break away, how to get your power back, how to make them, instead of always chasing theirs, crave your own. Stay with me, because what's going to happen next will change everything. This is the moment when your fate changes. It's not out there somewhere waiting for you. It's in you, burning to be unleashed, and you've let it stay dormant for far too long. But today, that ends. Accept the challenge. You're going to stay with me till the end of this video, because you owe this to yourself. No more distractions, no more excuses. You have to do this for you. You owe it to your future, to the person you've always wanted to become, to the hero of your dream life. The one where people are craving your attention, begging for your time, fighting for a moment in your presence. You're not here to beg. How many more times will you allow yourself to be reduced to that? Seriously ask yourself, are you here just to beg for their attention? Because I can see you right now, constantly chasing them, begging for recognition, lowering yourself for a chance to matter in their world. It's pathetic. And it's not who you really are. So accept the challenge today. Say it with me. You will no longer beg for their attention from this moment forward. No, you have your life. You have you. And that alone is powerful. And now you're going to show them. You're going to show them that you deserve to be chased too. You're not some afterthought. You're not disposable. You're not the sidekick in their story. You exist, you matter, and from now on they will have no choice but to see the real you, the one that man's attention without even trying. So accept this challenge right now and affirm with me, you have to see my worth. Say it, feel it, believe it, and don't stop here. Go and shout it in the comments. Let the universe hear you. Let it be known that you're no longer hiding in the shadows, no longer waiting for their approval. Even if they don't see your comment, even if they never read it, you don't care, because from now on, you no longer live for their validation. You're setting yourself up in a life where you decide your worth, where you make the decisions. And that's what makes you attractive and what will help them see your real worth. So don't be afraid to do this. Say what you have to see my worth in the comments. Now is your chance. If you think this video is helpful, please hit the like button below it. This encourages us to make more videos that empower, push, and keep you moving forward on your path to becoming the person you're meant to be. Now, let's talk about the 9 transformational steps you need to take to rewrite your relationship story. No, wait, to rewrite your whole life. These are the steps that will change your thoughts, actions, and energy in a way that makes people notice you. You'll stop living in the shadows and start getting the respect and attention you deserve. Let's go. Began at number 1 with Stoic Detachment now. I know where you're at. You're trying to flip the script on your relationship life. You want them to miss you, to see your worth, and it feels like the harder you try, the more they slip away. You might be lying awake at night, replaying conversations in your head, crying, wondering why they don't recognize your value. But here's the brutal truth. They don't see your worth because you don't see it yourself. Think about it. Why the hell would anyone respect your value when you're out here treating it like... It doesn't matter when you're handing it over on a platter for their approval, like it's something cheap, something they can take or leave. So stop it right now. Cut the nonsense, because this is where your real journey begins. This is the moment you stop begging, stop chasing, and start claiming what's yours. And it all starts with Stoic Detachment. Detachment isn't about shutting off your emotions or pretending you don't care. It's about realizing that your happiness, your peace of mind, and your worth are not dependent on anyone else's approval. It's about understanding that nothing external, whether it's a person, a relationship, or someone's attention, can define you. As one of the greatest Stoic philosophers, Marcus Aurelius, put it so well, recognize this, and you will find strength. This is the core of Stoicism, detachment, which means realizing that you are in charge of your own story, your own emotions, and your own sense of self-worth. It means realizing that if someone doesn't value you or see your worth, it's not because you're lacking, it's because they are blind to it. It's not your job to make them see it. It's your job to live it, to separate yourself from their opinions and step into your own power. You can be sure they won't miss you as long as you're constantly in their face and trying to get their attention. They'll miss you when you stop needing their approval and show them that your life is moving forward with or without them. They can feel your absence and realize that their presence in your life is not what makes you happy. When you detach, you change the power dynamic. You are no longer the needy one. You are now the one they are wondering about. They start asking why you aren't trying anymore. They start asking why you aren't seeking their attention. This space makes them realize that you are not something they can take for granted, and that's when the longing starts. When you stop needing them, they start needing you. It's not easy to detach. You care about this deeply. You've put your heart into it, and the thought of moving away is scary. But remember this. Detachment doesn't mean leaving the relationship or acting like you don't care. It means setting limits, taking back your mental space, and breaking the cycle of giving up on yourself. Here's how to do it. Stop getting upset when they do something that normally makes you mad. Don't give them that reaction. Don't let what they do affect how you feel. Stay cool and collected. Protecting your peace isn't about being cold. It's about focusing your energy on other things instead of dwelling on them. Take that energy and put it toward yourself. Start a new hobby. Pay attention to your job and work on your personal growth. The more you improve yourself, the less you'll want their approval. Don't contact them. I'm not telling you to ghost them, but back off and stop starting every conversation. Stop being the first person to reach out. In real life, let them experience what life is like without you constantly in it. They won't notice your absence until you make room for it. For example, let's say you're always texting first, always making plans, and always showing up, but it's clear they don't appreciate it. So you decide to detach. You stop texting them all the time, you stop bending over backwards to make things work, and you focus on yourself instead. Suddenly they notice and start asking why you're not as available. They miss the attention and validation you were giving them without them even asking. That's the power of Stoicism. If you detach from someone, they'll realize they should have been chasing you all along instead of you chasing them. I won't lie, it will feel hard at first. You might feel like you're giving up on something you cared a lot about. Your mind will try to trick you into thinking that detachment is pushing them further away, but the truth is that it's pulling them in because they're suddenly faced with the reality that they're not the center of your world. They've been relying on that for too long. But here's the kicker. You're not doing this for them. You are in charge. When you constantly push your energy onto someone, they feel like they need to pull away. But when you pull back and make space, the magnetism increases, and they're drawn to you, wondering why they no longer have easy access to your time and energy. This is where the real change happens. You become magnetic, not because you're trying, but because you've reclaimed your power. So embrace Stoic detachment. This is your moment to stop living for their approval. Stop begging for their attention. You have nothing to prove to them. You are whole as you are, and it's time for them to realize that. But this is just the first step. We're just getting started. You can't move the needle with one step alone, so kill those thoughts of clicking away and take the challenge to change your whole life. You're becoming someone worth chasing, and they will notice now. Being strong with me during this drop in change, I stand strong in the comments. Let me see that you've accepted this challenge to stick with me until the end. Because we're just getting started with number 2, a strategy that turned you into a gem, the scarcity principle. You've just learned Stoic detachment. Now it's time to take things even further by changing how people see you in their relationships. This second strategy is what turns you from just another option into a gem, something valuable and rare. Trust me, it's powerful. Think about it. This idea will change things in your favor, whether you're in a relationship or trying to meet someone new. Think about having a diamond and a regular stone in front of you. They're both rocks, so what's the difference? One is very hard to find and very valuable, while the other is something you wouldn't even notice if you walked by it on the street. That's why the diamond is valuable. It's rare. The less common something is, the more people want it, value it, and work to keep it. This is also true for relationships, whether you're already in one or looking for a new one. If you've been overlooked or underappreciated, it's not because you're not valuable, it's because you've been too available, not just physically, but also emotionally and energetically. You've given them too much without expecting anything in return. You've been the regular stone when you should have been the diamond. If you're trying to attract a new person, this is even more important. Maybe you haven't talked to them much or have had a few conversations, but aren't sure how they feel about you yet. The scarcity principle can change everything for you. If you constantly show them too much too soon, they won't feel the need to chase. But if you pull back and create a little mystery, they'll start to wonder about you. And when people start to wonder, they start to want. What you need to know is that people don't value what is easy for them to get. The more you give, the less they appreciate, so stop being so available. Pull away mentally, emotionally, and physically. You need to stop giving them your time, energy, and care without expecting something in return. It's not about playing games, it's about knowing your worth and making sure others do too, whether you're dating or in a relationship. The scarcity principle works because it makes people afraid of missing out, and when they're afraid of losing access to you, they start to crave your presence. If you're in a relationship, it's easy to fall into the trap of overgiving. If you're always the one to start conversations, make plans and offer support, they learn that they don't need to put in effort because they know you'll always be there for them. But if you pull back, they'll notice the change, they'll miss your attention, and that's when they'll start to work harder to keep you around. If you're trying to attract someone new, the same rule applies, but with even more weight. If you're too available or too eager, they don't feel like they need to pursue you, but as soon as you become a little harder to reach, they start thinking about you more. Why? Because you've become scarce. You've become a mystery they want to solve. Do not give them everything right away. Let them wonder. That's what will draw them to you. Here's how to use the shortage principle in your life. First, stop giving too much. Then pull back. If you're in a relationship or trying to meet someone new, don't always be the first to reach out or available for every conversation or meet-up. Give them time to notice your absence. When you respond to their messages, don't do it right away. Build up some anticipation. This isn't about playing games. It's about giving them a chance to feel your worth. Second, stop giving all of your emotional energy to them. If you're in a relationship and they're not reciprocating, pull back and let them feel the lack of your support and attention. If you want to meet someone new, don't tell them everything about yourself right away. Don't tell anyone everything. Add some surprise. Let them be interested in you. The less they know about you, the more they'll want to know, even if you haven't talked to them much yet. If you create mystery from the start, they'll feel like they have to figure you out, and that's when the chase begins. You don't have to be cold, but you do need to show them that you're not someone they can have whenever they want. Some people might be scared that if they pull away, they'll push them away, but the scarcity principle says that's not how it works. When you stop being so available, they'll realize how much they needed your presence, and that's when they'll crave you the most. Those who leave because you set limits or stopped being too forgiving were never meant to stay. The right people will fight to keep you around once they realize you're not so easy to get. Remember that people chase what they're afraid of losing. If you're always available, you don't give them a chance to feel that fear, but when you step back and become less common, they'll start to notice what's missing. Whether you've known them for a long time or just started talking, they'll feel the pull of your absence, and that's when the balance shifts in your favor. Don't be afraid to step back and make things a little mysterious so that you want yourself more. You are not just another choice. You are the diamond, but they'll never see that if you're always in their way. Remember that this is only step 2. You're still building a new version of yourself that deserves respect and attention. This journey is far from over. As the saying goes, what you think you become. So say it out loud, believe it, and write it down in the comments to show the world that you've accepted your worth and are no longer just another option. You are very important and deserve to be chased. Number 3. Master the calm silence. Now that you understand Stoic commitment and the scarcity principle, it's time to learn how to use one of the most powerful tools you have, stern silence. Not only is silence the absence of words, it's also the presence of power. When you stop justifying, explaining, and reacting, you make a place where others have to face their own thoughts and actions. Trust me, silence is deafening. How often do you feel like you have to explain yourself when someone questions you? How often do you feel like you have to react when they push your buttons? Every time you speak or react too soon, you give them power and control of the situation. But when you choose silence, it's confusing and unsettling, and it forces them to fill the void with their own thoughts. Worries and doubts. When you master Stoic silence, you stop playing their game. Whether you're already dating someone or looking for someone new, silence lets you stay calm and in charge while they wonder what you're thinking. There's nothing more powerful than making someone curious and want to know more. If you're in a relationship and you and your partner have a disagreement, your first instinct might be to argue back to defend yourself. But what if you didn't? What if you stayed calm and let your silence do the talking? That silence says a lot. It shows that you're not going to waste your time trying to convince them. It shows that you value your peace more than getting involved in drama. And trust me, they'll notice. They'll feel the weight of that silence, and it'll make them think twice about how they're acting. If you're trying to attract someone new, silence can work wonders. People like mysteries and things they don't know, so don't tell them everything about yourself all at once. Let them ask questions and be curious. When you're not around to explain yourself or fill in every blank with words, they'll start to work harder to get your attention because they want to know more about you. That's exactly what you want. Knowing when to speak and when to let silence do the work for you is what Stoic silence means. It means not reacting when someone expects you to, and letting them fill the space with their own thoughts instead of you doing it for them. When you master this, you give off an air of strength, self-control, and mystery, so embrace this silence. Remember that you don't have to explain yourself or how you feel to anyone. Let your silence show them how powerful you are. Here's your third affirmation. I own my silence. Say it out loud, feel it, and write it in the comments. Let them know that your silence isn't a sign of weakness. It's a sign of strength that they can't ignore. Number 4. You've learned Stoic detachment, the power of the scarcity principle, and Stoic silence. Now it's time to protect your inner world, which is one of your most valuable possessions. This is where your emotions, thoughts, and peace of mind live, and not everyone should be able to access it. But how? Does that make them miss you? What's interesting is that when you protect your inner world, you make a wall that says, "You can't disturb my peace unless I let you." People are drawn to people who are stable and unaffected by chaos in the world. When you stop letting people freely access your deepest thoughts and emotions, they start to crave it. They miss the parts of you that they used to take for granted because they know they can't easily dump their feelings on you or get validation. If you're in a relationship, think about how often you've overshared. When someone doesn't reciprocate, you feel exposed, vulnerable, and drained because you let them into the inner sanctum of your mind without making them earn that trust. By closing those gates and pulling back, you change the dynamic. They start to feel the absence of your emotional energy. They start to realize they no longer have free rein over your thoughts and emotions, and that's when they start to miss what they've lost. For those trying to attract someone new, this is even more important. People are drawn to mystery. You don't tell them everything about your life at once. They have to work to get a peek inside, and that journey of discovery is what keeps them hooked. It makes them want more. Setting limits that keep your peace and knowing who can access your energy and who can't are important parts of protecting your inner world. When you become picky about who you let into that space, that person will notice the difference and miss the emotional closeness they had with you, or wish they had with you. Here's your fourth affirmation. Say it out loud, believe it, and write it in the comments to let everyone know that your inner world isn't for everyone and that only those who earn it will be able to see it. 5. Break their habits. You've practiced Stoic detachment, learned the power of the scarcity principle, mastered Stoic silence, and kept your inner world safe. Now it's time to change the rules and break their routines for good. People feel at ease when they think they know how you'll respond, what you'll say, and how you'll act. But comfort leads to complacency, and complacency kills attraction. Make them miss you, want to be with you. If you're always the one to respond quickly, start conversations, and be predictable, they stop appreciating it because they know you'll always be there for them no matter what. But if you do the unexpected, that's when they start paying attention. It's in our nature to be drawn to uncertainty because it keeps us guessing. If you're in a relationship, this means breaking the routine. If they're used to you always making plans or accommodating their schedule, let them take the lead for once. If they're expecting a certain reaction from you in a fight or other situation, stay calm and quiet. It's the unexpected silence that makes them think about what just happened and leaves them feeling uneasy. If you're trying to attract someone new, this is a powerful move. When they think they know what you want, don't reach out to them if they've come to expect it. If you do something that goes against what they think, they'll be left wondering who you are, what's changed, and why they no longer have you figured out. When you break their patterns, you stop being predictable, and that makes them curious. They miss the certainty they used to have with you, and now they're thinking about you even more. It makes them question their own behavior because the dynamics have suddenly changed. Here's your fifth affirmation. Say it out loud, feel it, and write it in the comments to let them know that they can't put you in a box and that they'll never know what's going to happen next with you. That's how you keep them hooked. 6. Reflect their behavior back at them. Now that you've broken their patterns, it's time to take things even further. Behavior back at them. This is where you stop reacting emotionally to their actions and start showing them exactly what they've been doing. It's like holding up a mirror to their behavior, and trust me, it's one of the most powerful ways to make them realize how they've been treating you. How does this make them miss you? Simple people often don't realize the impact of their actions until they experience it firsthand. When you reflect their behavior back at them, they suddenly find themselves on the receiving end of their own attitude, their own distance, or their own indifference. It's a wake-up call. They begin to see how dismissive or neglectful they've been, and that realization stings, and when they feel that sting, they start to miss the version of you that always gave more, that always cared, that they took for granted. If they've been distant, you become distant. If they've been giving you the cold shoulder, you do the same, not in a way that's petty or spiteful. This isn't about playing games, but in a way that makes them feel the weight of their own actions. When they text less, you text less when they stop putting in effort. So do you. It's about showing them what it feels like to be on the receiving end of their behavior. If you're trying to attract someone new, this is crucial. Maybe they've been hot and cold, sending mixed signals instead of chasing after them. Reflect that energy right back. If they pull away, you pull away. When they notice that you're not running after them, they'll start to wonder why. It forces them to look at their own actions and ask themselves why they're pushing away someone who could be a great catch. Suddenly, they're the ones left thinking about you. This tactic creates balance. You're no longer overextending yourself or giving them more than what they give you. It makes them realize the value you've been bringing all along, because now they have to deal with the void they've created. That's when the regret, the longing, and the missing starts. Here's your sixth affirmation. I am your mirror. Say it, believe it, and write it in the comments. Let them feel what they've been giving you, and watch how quickly they start to miss the person they've been neglecting. Number 7. Make them invest in you. You've reflected their behavior back at them, and now it's time to raise the stakes. Make them invest in you. Here's where you stop doing all the work. Stop over-giving and instead shift the balance so they start investing in you, whether you're in a relationship or trying to attract someone new. People value what they have to work for. the more they invest in you, the more they'll realize your worth and the harder they'll work to keep you. Let's be real for a second. When you're always the one giving planning and doing all the emotional labor, what are they contributing? Nothing. They're comfortable, maybe even complacent. Why? Because they've been getting everything without having to lift a finger. But when you pull back and create a situation where they have to start putting in effort, things change. Suddenly, they're the ones chasing. They're the ones trying to win you over. Not the other way around. If you're in a relationship, this means letting them take responsibility for the relationship too. No more always being the one to initiate plans or solve problems. They need to step up. Maybe that means giving them space to plan the next date or to fix an issue, instead of you swooping in to handle it all. When they start investing time, energy, and thought into your relationship, they begin to value it more. They begin to value you more because they're now emotionally and mentally invested in keeping you. For those trying to attract someone new, this is a game share. Stop making things easy for them and make them work for your attention and time. If they're not, don't just give them your energy. Make them earn it through small or big actions. The more they invest in you, the more they'll realize how valuable you are. People don't value what they get for free, but they will fight to keep what they had to work for. Making them invest in you gives you power again. It shows them that they need to work for your time and heart. And when they realize how much work it takes to keep you, they'll start to miss how easy it was and will work even harder to keep it. Here's your 7th affirmation. I'm worth the work. Say it, feel it, and write it down. What people said. 8th, let them know that your love, time, and energy are not free, and that they'll have to pay to keep you in their life. If you're already in a relationship or looking for a new one, making them feel your absence is one of the best ways to get them to think about you all the time. Here's the thing. People don't realize how much they value someone until that person is gone. They get used to your presence, attention, and energy and start to take it for granted. But when you pull back and aren't as involved in their daily life, that's when they start to miss you. If you're in a relationship, this doesn't mean they vanishing without explanation. It means creating space for them to appreciate what they've been getting from you all along. Stop being the one who's always there to pick up the pieces, to fix every problem, or to keep things going. Let them feel what it's like when you're not around to hold everything together. When they start realizing that your absence leaves a gap in their life, emotionally, mentally, and even physically, they'll begin to see how much you actually mean to them. For those trying to attract someone new, this is where things really get interesting. If you've been giving too much too soon, pull back. Let them feel the absence of your attention. Don't be so quick to respond. Don't always be available for every hangout. Give them time to notice the difference between when you're around and when you're not. That absence creates space for them to reflect on what they're missing. It forces them to realize that your attention, your presence is something they don't want to lose. When you make them feel your absence, you're showing them that you're not someone who will always be there waiting. You're someone whose presence is valuable, and without it, their life feels a little emptier. And that's when the longing begins. Here's your 8th affirmation. You will feel my absence. Say it, believe it, and write it in the comments. Let them know that your presence isn't something they can take for granted, and when it's gone, they'll feel it. Number 9. Here we are at the last and most important step. You are the hero of your own story. This is where everything changes, because no matter what happens in your relationships, whether you're trying to find someone new or reignite a flame, remember this one truth. You are the main character in your own story. You have the power to shape your life, and the moment you start living like it, everything changes. Too often, we make the mistake of putting other people at the center of our lives in the hopes that they'll see our worth and validate us. If you want to feel good about yourself, you don't need anyone else to tell you that. You are the star, and you are in charge of your own happiness. When you see yourself as the hero of your own life, you stop chasing and begging and start living with purpose and confidence. If you're in a relationship, this is about taking back your story. You're not just a supporting character in someone else's. By pursuing your own goals, passions, and happiness, you become much more attractive. This is because people are drawn to confident individuals who don't need others to complete their tasks. They'll see the power you possess and want to be a part of your story, not the other way around. If you're trying to attract a new partner, stop trying to fit into their life and instead create a life so full of purpose that they feel compelled to chase you. When you embody the energy of someone who is fully in charge of their own destiny, people want to be with someone who is sure of themselves and doesn't need anyone else to tell them where to go. You are the hero and the center of your own world, and it's time you started living like it. This is your life, and you're not here to play small or wait for someone else to tell you you're great. You already are. I'm the main character in my own story. Let them see that you're not chasing after anyone because you're too busy living your own amazing life. When they realize that you're the hero, they'll start running after you, and that's where the real power is. You've now taken the steps to reclaim your power and rewrite your story. Remember that you are the hero of your own life, and everything changes when you embrace that truth. If this video has inspired you, please click the like button. Please follow the channel and share this movie with people who need to hear it. Please share this change with others so they can see their own worth. Stay tuned for more content that will push you to be your best self. Let's keep this journey going together and see you in the next one.